What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we are wrapping up the Visconti series, the Visconti entry level series, where we've talked about the Visconti Breeze, then we did the Visconti Van Gogh, and now we are talking about the Visconti Rembrandt. I have used this pen a really long time ago, so I was very interested to see what my opinions of it now would be. Because when I say a very long time ago, I mean it probably was back in like 2017, maybe. So, you know, fair a while ago. So I got a hold of it again. Thank you very much, Emmy from Pen Venture, for loaning this to me because it has been excellent fun revisiting it. But before we get into my thoughts, let's just cover the parts of the pen. And we'll start with the cap. So like many Visconti pens, it does have the Visconti logo on the finial, which you can see is a little bit textured, which is kind of neat. And you have the back of the spring-loaded clip on that side. And then you have the Visconti Ponte Vecchio designed clip, which I very much like. I think it's one of the nicest looking, and this one is super, super crisp on both sides. Then you have the material itself, which is really beautiful, and offhand I actually forget what the material is called. I'll put it at the bottom. But you can kind of see here, and it's incredibly difficult to get it to show on camera. It's basically a black pen with like these gray swirls, but in certain lighting it almost looks like a deep royal purple, which I think is just stunning. Then on the cap band itself, you have it saying made in Italy, which again is very difficult to capture on camera, and then the word Visconti. And it's a pretty beefy cap band. On the inside, you just have the basic cap there. And when you come down to the rest of the body, it does taper down a little bit to the kind of button at the end, I like to call it. It's just a metal end piece here, and I like to call it as the button. It's not the official term, but that's what I like to give. Now, just like the Breeze and Van Gogh, this is magnetic, which is super, super satisfying. So you uncap it, you have the metal grip. There's like a tiny, tiny little step here, but I mean, you certainly don't feel it because there's no threads. You have a metal grip and then a little raised section of the metal grip to stop your fingers from slipping down the grip section. If you have, like, I guess, regular to oily style fingers. I have very dry hands, so I've never had a problem with slipping on metal grips. But it is slick in the sense that there's no texture, and it does become a fingerprint magnet. So that may or may not be something that bothers you. Then you get kind of like these multiple steps here, which aesthetically I don't mind, but I do find it annoying when I'm filling the pen with ink because these crevices are just natural spots for the ink to sit. So it does require a little bit extra care when wiping it dry so that you don't get it on your fingers. The nib is a steel nib. This is a steel fine, and it is relatively small. You know, if I have, let's just whip out a number 6 size Leonardo pen here. It is a fairly small size nib. For the overall pen, I would say it's aesthetically, it's maybe a slightly small looking, but it's not like super, super, out of place small. Like, it doesn't make it look strange, but I think it is a little bit small. You can post the pen, no problem. I do not because it does become back weighted, but you certainly can for larger hands. And you unscrew the body with the metal threads and the metal insert. So it's going to last a long time. And then you have a Visconti converter here, which appears empty because I ran out of ink. So I've pushed all the ink in there towards the nib and the feed. So when we do the writing section, I will be able to actually have ink to use. So what do I like and not like about this pen? I like a lot about this pen. I like the way that it feels. The magnetic cap is very, very fidget friendly. I like it quite a bit. I also love the Visconti hook safe lock. They have some of the best capping mechanisms. Spoiler, I do like the way that it writes. I like the fact that the metal here makes it like nib heavy. So the pen just naturally wants to stay in this angle versus like some pens that either have, you know, quote unquote perfect balance so that you do like you don't feel like the weight coming down to the page, or it's back heavy. So it does aid with like longer writing sessions because it just takes a little bit of weight off of you. What I don't like about this pen is really just these steps here, and that just is with cleaning, which ultimately is not a deal breaker for me because like I don't fill it too often. If you are the type of person that has to fill their pen daily or several times a week, that may become a thing. Like I said, I don't have a problem with the grip, but I can see that becoming an issue for some. So what was in here? What was in here that is almost dry now is Diamine Earl Grey ink. Very nice ink. I like it quite a bit. And we're going to pop out some Endless paper here, which is super fountain pen friendly. I have also done a review on this if you want to check that out. Nope, I am straight up out of ink. Got to refill. So, in the effort of keeping things one take, let's do it together with no cuts, people. Actually, since we're filling up, let me run a poll. Let me know in the comments section down below. When I do my writing samples, I usually cut the, wow, I've got this cap really on here. I usually cut the writing sample where I don't say anything, like the quick brown fox, you know, that kind of stuff. I usually cut that out and speed it up because there's really nothing that's like super productive there, you know, to be said. In fact, nothing is being said. And most people, you know, seem to be fine with that. Some people say that they would rather me not do that. And I do that mostly just to help keep my videos as short as possible because, I mean, you guys have been watching me for years. You know that I ramble, which I'm doing right now. So let me know in the comment section down below. Do you want me to keep doing what I've been doing, or do you want me to stop speeding it up and just leave it as like quiet dead air? Because I can do either. I just do it for one reason, and now I need to know. So you can see here, like there's just little bits of ink that get caught. Oh, sorry, that was off camera. That get caught in like the little folds. This one was actually pretty good. This is not an ink that tends to stick, but if you do have ink that does that, like if you've got like a shining ink, a sheening ink, ones with glitter, things like that, it's going to be even worse than, you know, this. So we'll take out a little bit of the ink here just so it's not as wet, but it is a fairly wet writing pen. I almost forgot the word. So right off the bat, you can probably hear it. Here, let me get a little closer. I'm going to take this off camera to the microphone. I don't know if that made it easier to pick up. We'll find out. This is no cuts. I'm not cutting this. It does sound like a pencil, which is unusual. I don't have very many that do that, but I kind of like it. It's very smooth. There is a bit of feedback. It does feel kind of like I am using a pencil, which accompanied by the sound and the color of ink is like basically spot on, and I really enjoy it. It is a fine nib, and I would say it is an Italian fine for sure. You can flip it upside down for reverse writing, but I will tell you it is unpleasant feeling, but it does. You can get an extra fine. There is not a ton of flex, but you do get more than your traditional steel nib, but it is in absolutely no way, shape, or form a flex pen. So this is it. As far as wetness goes, it's a pretty wet writer. Granted, this is a decently wet ink. It's not like a gusher of an ink, but it's decent. But it does stay true to, the stereotypical wet Visconti. But it's not a fire hose. Absolutely not. It still feels very controlled. There's been no hard starts or skipping except when you run out of ink, which you can't blame the pen for. You got to blame the user, aka me. So I've written many, many, many journal sessions with this pen, and it has always been perfectly fine. And like pretty much any good pen, writes under its own weight, and it helps that all the weight is up front. So, do I recommend this pen? Yes, I do. I think it's a great entry-level pen to the Visconti brand, and I really like a lot about this pen. It feels very well built, like it's not going to break. There's not even any micro scratching that I can see. I'm sure it'll happen eventually, but I really like the magnetic clip or magnetic cap. You do need like a decent pull to it, so it's not going to like open by itself. But yeah, I like it quite a bit. So between the Visconti Breeze, the Van Gogh, and the Rembrandt, I would say they're all pretty darn similar. The main differences, of course, is just the aesthetic. So given my choice, I would probably choose the Rembrandt into the Van Gogh, depending on the design choices. But that's just my preference. So in the comment section down below, let me know if you want me to zoom past this section like I do usually, or if you want me to leave it be like I did today. And let me know if you've used any of these pens, so the Van Gogh, the Rembrandt, or the Breeze. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. While you're down there, you might as well hit that like button to help me in the algorithm. Hit the subscribe if you have yet to do so. I am trying to get back to more regular videos every Monday and Friday. And for those of you who support me on Patreon, I very much appreciate it. You guys are the reason why I've kept this going. And if you want to become a Patreon member, the link is in the description. As always, I will see you guys next time. Bye.